I'd like to play a game with you. Until now, you just sat there as a voyeur watching other people.
Here's Johnny! How's this for a wet dream?
The best horror movies of 2023. Horror is still going strong, baby.
We are only halfway through the year, and we have already gotten an abundance of quality horror flicks. We watched Allison WIlliams take a break from being terrorized by Lena Dunham to be terrorized by a lifelike evil AI doll in Megan. Mia Goth returned to form as her usual maniacal character in Infinity Pool, which premiered at Sundance. Streamers released surprising hits, most noticeably Shudder with Skinamarink, which had everyone revisiting their childhood nightmares. Perhaps the most anticipated horror release this year, Scream 6, left Woodsboro and Sidney Prescott behind for the bright lights of New York City. Not to mention an outstanding and terrifying directorial debut from Down Under with Talk to Me by Danny Philippou and Michael Philippou. We would say horror is back, baby, but the past few years have proven to be a breeding ground of eclectic quality horror, and this year is a strong continuation of that. Here are the best horror movies of 2023. Number 10. Pale Blue Eye. Number 10. The Pale Blue Eye. Few names in horror fiction are as beloved as Edgar Allan Poe, but The Pale Blue Eye isn't a typical adaptation of one of his most famous works. Instead, Scott Cooper's chilling murder mystery casts Poe as a supporting character in the story of a mysterious death of several cadets at the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. Cooper reunites with Christian Bale after 2017's Hostiles, who delivers another outstanding, reserved performance as the greased detective Augustus Lander. While The Pale Blue Eyes begins as a straightforward investigate thriller, Cooper incorporates elements of gothic horror as the murders get more gruesome. While it may not pack a lot of jump scares, the shocking ending is the type of real horror that will stick with you far after the credits have rolled. Number 9. Megan. Killer dolls have been done in horror many times over the decades. Chucky and Annabella, anyone? It takes a unique concept to create a film with similar villains, not have it come off as a clone. Megan succeeds at standing on its own by creating a character we have never seen before. Megan is a life-sized AI doll programmed to speak and walk like a real person. Her implanted purpose is to be friend for a recently orphaned child, but she takes her mission a little too seriously and ends up becoming overprotective to the point of murder. Allison WIlliams and young Violent McGraw are great as the aunt and niece trying to stop Megan's murderous ways. The film is both scary and funny, and while the third act, Bloodbath, is hindered a little by its PG-13 rating, The creepy dance sequence is so unique that it went viral before the film was ever released. Let's see Annabelle do that. Sean Van Boer.
Megan, your goal is to protect Katie from harm.
Number 7. Skinamarink. From its disquieting beginning all the way to its petrifying end, Carl Edward Ball's feature debut, Skinamarink is a modern horror masterpiece, telling what could be a simple story of two siblings who find themselves trapped in their home after all the windows and doors vanish. It thrives in its precise presentation that is unlike anything else out there. Specifically, it is a very restrained yet no less riveting work of horror, where what we don't see is just as scary as what we do. Taking place entirely in this single location that increasingly feels as though it has been removed from time and space. It plunges into the darkness that threatens to swallow your whole. As voices begin to echo through the house and figures appear where there were once known, it settles into a rhythm that is as mesmerizing as it is maddening. It's not a film for everyone, but it rewards those who take the plunge along with it. If you find yourself brave enough, you are going to want to turn off all the lights in your house and put on headphones to fully immerse yourself in what proves to be a distinctly evacuate vision. Number 6. What is it that you like to experience on vacation? Infinity Pool. Perhaps it is to see the sights, try the local food, or just get a chance to relax. That is, unless you are one of the depraved characters in Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool, where you go to get away with gruesome acts of violence before gleefully observing your clone get executed in your place. You know, just normal vacation stuff that we all love. Any other information about the experience of this film would spoil the fun, but suffice it to say that there are macabre revelations to be found in this darkly delightful work. More than a bit grim, as it unflinchingly observes how the wealthy can get away with anything due to their wealth. It also has a wonderfully bleak sense of humor woven through it as well. Key to this is a wonderful Mia Goth, who gives one of her most unhinged performances to date in the film's standout sequences. Not only was it one of the best movies to come out of a wonderful lineup of midnight films at Sundance, but it also packs one of the more beautifully bleak endings that provides one final grim punchline to take as a souvenir in your mind. Hussera, the Bone Woman. Hussera, the Bone Woman uses the titular supernatural entity to explore the pleasures and pains of motherhood in a raw and sometimes cruel fashion. Michel Garza Cervera's directorial feature debut should already be celebrated for its ambition alone. Still, those willing to explore the Spanish language horror story will discover that Hussera also has much to say about family expectations, the material challenges people face in Latin countries, and what it means for a woman to be free in patriarchal society. With a spectacular performance by lead actress Natalie Sullivan, Hussera will shock and maybe disgust viewers who are not prepared to face some harsh truth about what motherhood really means for women who don't fit into the housewife mold. It is impossible to come out indifferent from a screening of Husserl, not only for the technical achievements of brilliant feature, debut, but also due to the uncomfortable themes Cervera dares to expose. Add a good dose of body horror to the mix, and we have one of the best movies of 2023. Number 5. Knock at the Cabin. Based on the popular novel The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay, Knock at the Cabin is M. Night Shyamalan's best film in years. What starts out as a typical home invasion thriller with a group of 4 villains breaking into a family's vacation cabin soon turns into something else when the baddies tells their victims that one of them must sacrifice their life or the world will come to an end. It makes for some nerve-wracking, suspenseful scenes as the family fights back against their captors, and escalating events leave the audience wondering if the group is telling the truth about their actions or if they are there for other nefarious means. It all leads to a highly impactful and emotional final. Pay special attention to Dave Bautista, the former wrestler turned actor, shows that he's so much more than a Marvel sidekick. He's a leading man you can't take your eyes off. Number 4. The Old Waters. We don't know about you, but you can't think of anything that has provided such a unique twist on the found footage genre quite like The Old Waters. Though it takes a while to fully build its thrilling and terrifying descents into madness, the destination that awaits is more than worth the wait. The story begins with a group of friends who are going out in the desert to shoot a music video. When they arrive there, they begin to notice that something isn't right. There are strange sounds that echo from within the earth itself, and there is soon a figure of some kind that seems like it may be familiar. Before they can figure out what is happening, their entire world is upended into one of cyclical violence that feels almost unbound from reality itself. The less that is known about this, the better the experience will be, as it really offers a trip that culminates in a conclusion as crushing as any you will see this year. Number 3. Scream 6. Well, 2022's Scream was a solid new take on Wes Craven's legendary horror franchise. It was clearly just a stepping stone of filmmakers Tyler Gillett and Matt Bettinelli-Olpin to get adjusted to the saga. Scream 6 is a fully baked vision, adding in meta-textual commentary on the continuation of legacy sequels, with more probing analysis of victimization and the perception of public tragedies. Not only is Scream 6 easily the most violent film in the series thus far, but it is also the most relentless. 2 hours might seem like a stretch considering how short some of earlier installments in the Scream series were, but Scream 6 never loses a moment of tension as it seamlessly unravels its mystery. Number 2. Evil Dead. It took 10 years for the Evil Dead franchise to return to theaters, but Evil Dead Rise is worth the wait. Written and directed by Lee Cronin, Evil Dead Rise brings the deity back in a movie that mixes the unrelenting brutality of Fede Alvarez's semi-remake with the goofy violence of Sam Raimi's original trilogy. As a result, Evil Dead Rise is a crowd pleaser that knows preciously when to make the public laugh and when to scare out minds further. At the center of the Cronin's highly entertaining nightmare is Alicia Fatherland's Mommy Death, arguably the most terrifying creature in the franchise. Every time Mommy Death shows up, she steals the scene, and it's just delicious watching Alicia give one of the best performances of her life while screaming profanities and torturing children. Number 1. Influencer. So, the Shudder original Influencer might not be a film that you immediately recognize. It is one of the real unexpected gems of year thus far. The less that is known about the plot, the better. But the basics involve an influencer who has traveled to Thailand for an unexpectedly solo vacation, as she creates a curated vision of her trip that makes it seem like she's having the trip time of her life. The reality is that she's lonely and miserable. When she then meets another woman at the resort who seems to be so much more confident and carefree, the two begin to spend more time together. However, as time goes on, deceptions and lies begin to unravel, which could have deadly consequences for them both. Anything more than that would spoil the fun of what is a scrappy horror film that skewers the way we curate our online identities and how we all may be hiding something behind the image we put. And at the end, if you like this ranking, please leave a comment for free and press like button below. And if you don't like, if you have any suggestion or movie that you love it in horror genres, please let us to know in comments below. If you like this video, press like button, subscribe this channel for more content. And thank you to be with us until this time. See you next. Don't skip, please. We want to add more horror movies at 2023. One of them is The Boogeyman, the latest film from Rob Savage, whose breakout hit Host still holds up even if his follow-up feature Dashcam does not. The upcoming horror The Boogeyman is an effectively frightening adaptation of the Stephen King short story of the same name. And another title, his name is Talk to Me. Talk to Me is one of those movies that show there are no limits to human creativity. The story involves around the cursed hand that allows people to contact the spirits roaming the world and allow them to temporarily take over a living body, revealing secrets of a post-mortem. For a group of teenagers, that means playing dangerous games to spice up their parties, even if there are hundreds of horror movies that deal with possession and the secrets of the afterlife. This story still finds a fresh take on the trope. While that would be reason enough to praise the movie, Talk to Me is also a technical marvel with a tight direction that knows just how to mix spine-chilling moments within responsible fun of teenagers pushing their boundaries.